What are the rules that India really has? Because this is a question, this is a debate that apart from crude is the second big headline in various markets.
Absolutely. See, whereas India is concerned, it's been very recent that we came up with a regulation. DGCA issued a circular, it got with a regulation that there was another amendment to the regulation. Now, the regulation comes in the place that we have categorized drones into 4 categories. Depending on the size and the weight over it and how much it can fly. Now, whereas anything nano category, which is above 50 feet, there is no regulation. But you have to obtain a unique identification number in order to fly in Indian airspace. You have to take a unique identification number. Only an exemption is nano category, which can fly up to 50 feet, and micro, which can fly up to 200 feet. Any other have to have a unique identification number. Now, post that, they came up with a lot of areas which have been designated as no-fly zones.
Right.
Then Digital Sky platform was one where you have to obtain, you have to register yourself. A pilot has to register. The one who is the owner of the drone have to be registered. There have been different categories when it comes to importing a drone. The other one comes as to our own home, Indian manufactured drones. So there are different categories as to the same. The moment you want to import a drone from outside, you need to have a license from DGFT, and at the same time, you need to have a allowance from the DGCA. These are the few, but when it comes to, these are something which is commercially operated drones. But in a warlike situation, what is more required is more technology aspect in order to detect or sense if any drone.
That is my next question,
yes.
Khushbu, because we understand that there is a law in place that came in 2018, as you mentioned. But when something like this happens, you want to, sit back again and check, understand on what regulations, technology, security, safety, where does India stand in all of that?
See, we do have geofencing. Geofencing is one of the terminology which is very straightforward, that any drone, the moment you have no-fly zone categories, which are very specific and like 5-kilometer radius of airports, military installations, oil stations, these are the areas which are restricted, which are no-fly zones. So each and every drone should have, or it's there, whereas DGA is concerned, DGI, the drone manufacturers are concerned, there should be a strict policy that none of the drones, be it for a commercial or personal use or for recreation, should fly without that being part of it. And that geofencing comes in, that it's just an app that the moment, even if you try to get into that area, it stops automatically. One cannot authorize itself by its own. It's something which it doesn't get authorized. So that kind of system we are still lacking behind when it comes to, again, the part that law, even if you have laws, technology, we are a little lacking. So another thing which came up with regard to technology is Ministry of Aviation came up with a group which called new Policy 2.0, Drone Policy 2.0, wherein it called all the people in the technology, private companies, to get into the airface with them and collect evidence as to what can be done in categories such as delivery of medical equipments, delivery of medical equipments, along with it
essentials, basically.
Yeah, essentials, major essentials. So when it comes to that, they collect the evidence, and one can combat that, how exactly one has to look into it. So that's a welcoming move with DGCA, that bringing in order to boost drone. We cannot stop. It's a welcoming move. So this is one of the way to practically get into that, what all ways they can do it, and monitor also, and maybe come up with a little better technology, and with it better laws or regulations over it.
So I was reading a lot of reports, and let's talk on the positives of this as well, because we've seen drones usage actually being welcome in agriculture. That is where we saw a lot of startups come in as well. There has been a report actually as early as today morning which says that mapping of the country is something that the government also is looking at. So there are some positives, and then photography, etc. How would you say has been the process or progress there?
See, there have been, because of the regulation which came in, because in order, there was a difficulty to combat when it comes to, with advancement, there came a issue of let's say trespassing, issue of privacy issues, issue of following somebody, these kind of issues came up.
So, but would you say there are more rules needed yet when it comes
to
India?
A little more, not exactly rules, but regulation, or more of a technology-driven regulation to combat that. But yes, boosting, we cannot stop. The world is like, we have to adopt ourselves to technology, which is drone.
Well, absolutely.